Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. I'm pleased to have back with us once again Jack Crooks. Jack, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Hey, good, Kurt. Thanks for having me back.
Good, good. Listen. Dollar at new record low against euro. Should we be trading pesos here? What should we be doing? What's going on, Jack?
Getting pretty ugly. A lot of people are just selling dollars willy-nilly, thinking that the policy is to let the dollar go.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. Yeah,
we saw a new record low yesterday. I mean, are we in the house of pain yet or no?
Are we? Well, according to what, this whole so-called theory of orderly decline, it still has been fairly orderly. So, so we're not in the house of pain quite yet, I don't think.
Not quite yet. All right. Now, there's also been reports that the jobless increase was 4 times a gain of 6,000 as economists were expecting. I don't listen. We're still at a record low as far as people out of work. In fact, my opinion is, Jack, that if you're not working, you're just plain lazy because there's jobs out there. But they're also saying that this rise is a possible lag on that too with the weak dollar. I don't know. Can we tie the two together somehow?
Well, there comes a point where the dollar gets so low, markets are that way. They wash themselves out and they create fundamental backdrops, which means it could be due for a rise. Meaning, U.S. assets are looking pretty cheap with the dollar so low to overseas investors.
Yeah.
So you would expect sooner or later some of this money to flow back into the U.S., especially if corporate earnings continue to stay high.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So it kind of it has a mechanism because it's really supply and demand.
Sure. As long as we keep printing the demand, it's like stocks, right? Are we in dilution? Is that what's going on here? Are we seeing dilution in the dollar, Jack?
Well,
Feds keep printing it.
They do keep printing, and that's the game they're playing. And I think they may be locked in that scenario in which they think a lower dollar is going to help the U.S. economy, and that it seems that a lower dollar is juicing corporate earnings, as I said, which helps the stock market, which tends to, boost the wealth effect for the consumer, even though so it tends to balance the negative wealth effect from falling housing. So that may be the policy.
Yeah, interest rates were cut recently, didn't seem to help it. Where do we go from here?
We have the G7 meeting this weekend, so we should find out some interesting things from there. If they don't come out and make a strong statement in favor of the dollar, it could be a green light to really sell this puppy big time.
Yeah.
So that's what we're watching. They may come in and bash China really hard and push on China, and if that's the case, the Japanese yen may rally. So some interesting things could happen this weekend in G7, and usually we don't see anything interesting out of things like this.
Right. How are we going to close up for the year, do you feel, with the dollar?
I think it really depends a lot on what's going to happen right in here. If people think that the U.S. economy is really in no man's land and the Fed has to cut another 50 basis points before the end of the year, the dollar's in trouble.
All right. What about housing, things like that? People are also blaming housing, help pushing the dollar down.
No doubt, that's part of it, and this whole concern that sooner or later the consumer is going to crater because of housing and because of general job weakness or weakening of the job market is all factored into the dollar. You're exactly right.
All right, now retail sales, should retailers be optimistic coming into the third and fourth quarter with Christmas holidays?
That I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. It all depends on if the consumer can hold up here, and that's that whole wealth effect thing. If say the stock market continues to crater as it's doing today, then we have a double whammy of falling equities and falling housing prices. That's not going to make the consumer very happy.
All right, Jack, you're at a new place. Where is it at? Jack Crooks, of course. Where's your website at?
We're at moneyandmarkets.com.
Moneyandmarkets.com, moneyandmarkets.com. Of course, as always, Jack Crooks, thanks for being on Traders Nation today. Have yourself a great weekend.
Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. All right, coming up next, of course, we've got your calls. On the other side, I want to talk about MSC that Valentino called in and our stocks. We'll be right back.